Hey everyone, how you doing? So another Musings On episode, and another one that's not about a specific year from 1997, because I've been doing a series of those, but one that is an offshoot, a side quest if you like, that has come about as a result of me doing the music listening research for 1997. And when I get on to do the 1997 episode, I'll explain a little bit more about the interesting backdrop in terms of my listening preferences at that point, and also what was going on career-wise and studies-wise, because it was quite a interesting year in terms of my sort of causal path through life. But what I wanted to do in a similar way as I've done a couple of episodes is explore some, as I said, side quests on the journey to looking at or getting a bit deeper understanding of my music preferences from 97, because what was happening, without giving too much away for the 97 episode, is I definitely had a bit of a shift in my music tastes, in some ways back to what my music tastes were in the early 80s in terms of the style of music that I was listening to. But that was taking for me a while to catch up a little bit. So, in 97 I was maybe listening to albums that had been released in 96 and 95, and it took me until about 2000 to sort of catch up with myself. So it did create a really interesting year where I'm not able to catch up with necessarily what was coming out in 97 in this terms of going back to extreme music, but there were also, because of me sort of still buying maybe albums into what I was into at that time, which was maybe mainly sort of alternative rock, Britpop, a little bit of trip hop and power pop really. But as a consequence of that and trying to play catch up, there's a lot of stuff that I missed out on 97. And in trying to get my head round that in order to talk about it in the 1997 episode, because, I like to talk about what did I miss, I discovered an interesting article on Wikipedia. And so I thought I'd do a Musings On episode about this timeline of electronic music genres, because that is what I feel I was missing out on quite a lot in the 90s. So I'm going to include a link to this because it's a really interesting article to explore, and you can go down all these interesting, again, musical side quests. I'm going to focus specifically on genres that originated predominantly from the UK, just because that's one thing I remember about the 90s, was there was a lot of really interesting UK-based electronic acts that were coming through, and I might have heard the odd track here and there on the radio, but I never fully explored. And, in some ways, the episode I did on Electroglide in Blue by Apollo 440 sort of plays to that thing that I've noticed. So let's focus in on the 1990s. The one thing I will say, if you're watching this episode and you'd like me to do Musings On episodes about other decades in electronic music, I'm definitely up for that. But I want to concentrate on really just the 90s for this Musings On, because otherwise it could go on for days. So let's just have a look, and we'll go down some side rabbit holes and just see if there's any bands that come up. There may be tick boxes for me, and I'll try and talk a little bit about that. Also, if there's any genres that maybe I got into after the fact, because there's a story I often tell about sometime in the 2000s, mid-2000s, I started coming up with names for genres and then seeing if the genre existed. So as a result of that, some genres I went down a lot later, like we'll see if Nintendo Core has origins in the 90s. I'm not sure whether it does, but that's something I explored in the 2000s, along with, what else was it, future pop. So that's bands like Assemblage 23 and VNV Nation. So we'll see if Future Pop comes up. And Glitch, but I was looking specifically, I think, for something to see if there was a genre called glitchcore as well. So yeah, there's a few interesting things to go down here. Yeah, we've got Ilbient, although that's not specifically from the UK. So let me just do a quick overview. Indietronica. Okay. Drill and bass. Never really listened to much drill and bass. Oh yeah, dubstep. I definitely want to go down that rabbit hole. Right, so maybe for the purposes of this discussion, I won't go too far down this bit. So anything that spills over into the early 2000s, we'll ignore for the purposes of that discussion. We'll bookend it, we'll put it to one side, we'll put a pin in it till, if people wanted a later episode of this Future Pop, cool, okay. So maybe I'll focus in on some of the ones that I'm aware of, but maybe I want to know a little bit more about, because I didn't fully go down the rabbit hole, and some will be ones where, yeah, I definitely went down that rabbit hole, but not until the 2000s. So let's go back here. And I should really put on, let me just do this. And whenever I'm doing these, I always like to have a little bit of background music to just chill me out. So although I can't play it to you, I'm going to have it on in the background. What have I been listening to recently? Oh, what's going on here? There we go. Who was that? Crane Kiss. Wonder what that was a result of. Yeah, I've been listening to a few albums that came out, electronic albums that came out in 97. So The Orb, Depeche Mode, Ultra, and some Ozric Tentacles as well. Although they're more like space rock. So many choices. Let's just do that. There we go. Right. So here we go. Industrial techno, dark electro. Who's that then? Is that Skinny Puppy? Yep. Oh yeah, agrotech. Right. So electro-industrial sub-genres. Early 80s. Placebo effect. Okay, looks like it's also mentioning Future Pop here, which I do want to talk about. So yeah, Skinny Puppy are a Canadian electro-industrial band. So fellow Canadians, but they're over in Vancouver. In fact, I think I did an episode of my Music Obsession podcast where the choice of bands was chosen by my wife, and she wrote all the blurb for. And I think Skinny Puppy definitely came up, one of their ones. Maybe it was Vivisect, I think, possibly. Okay, so there's a name I definitely recognise. It's Agrotech. Wow. I don't recognise any. Oh, maybe Combi Christ, actually. Okay. So, looks like dark electro is definitely something I need to check out. See if there was any dark electro albums in 97. There's Grendel down there as well. Why do I know them? Okay, industrial techno. Right. Here we go. look at all these post dubs. I didn't even realise there was a post dubstep. Okay. Final cut. Well, I don't really see anybody there I recognise. So we got ambient dub. That sounds right up my alley. Oh, there we go. Yeah, the orb. Okay. So here we go. Yeah, I was just listening to Oblivion today, or parts of it. I have heard the orb. Dread Zone. I had a feeling I recognised from this, yeah. So I'm trying to remember which one I have of these, or had. I think it was this one that came out in '92, yeah. So I bought this and I just saw it in a record store. I've got the cassette of this. I don't know if I rebought it on CD. And then never really went down any of these rabbit holes. But yeah, it's an interesting album to listen to if you've never checked it out. And they're definitely on, that first one's definitely on Spotify. This is earlier, but I should definitely check out some King Tubby actually. I do like, dub, like dub reggae, Lee Scratch Perry, that sort of stuff. I've got a few of those sort of Trojan compilations as well. I don't know if it mentions, who's that guy that I first used to listen to? See if I can find his name here. Don't think. Yes, there's quite a few bands that have definitely been influenced by aspects of dub. But I'm trying to remember the name of the producer that I became familiar with through his work with in dub. And of course Bauhaus, yeah, you can hear dub in there. Okay. So IDM, you probably saw that. I think that came up as part of that, artificial intelligence thing. So did sort of go down that rabbit hole a little bit. And some of these, I do remember buying more compilation albums with certain styles of electronic music on it. Side-dub, who would that be? Oh, yeah. This is a great album. Sadly, it's not on Spotify. Side-dub. Not to be confused with ambient dub. I wonder where things like Future Sound of London life forms fit into all of this, actually. I have to see if Future Sound of London comes up at all. Although, they may have been a little bit earlier, I'm not sure actually. UK Hard House. Oh, yep. Handbag House. Tidy brand. Oh my word, lots of different subgenres. Of course, Big Beat. Yeah. Prodigy, Chemical Brothers, Fatboy Slim, The Crystal Method, Propeller Heads, Basement Jack, Groove Armada. I was definitely listening to the Prodigy in the 90s and the Chemical Brothers. Crystal Method a little bit later. So, I think as I mentioned when I did the Electric Gliding Blue episode, Apollo 440, they're influenced by Big Beat. I've actually not listened to many Fatboy Slim albums, funnily enough. Did I listen to this one or an earlier one? Let me see if I can remember which Chemical Brothers albums I've listened to. Yeah, that one. I might have that, I'm not sure. Yeah. Dig Your Own Hole 97. I'd better re-listen to that if I'm going to be talking about 97. Crystal Method. Okay. Legion of Boom. Right. And they had an album out in 97 as well. Vegas. So yeah, I think this was what piqued my interest. I noticed their name coming up and thinking, oh, I've not listened to them. What was my step on album for them? Yeah, one of these two, which is a lot later. Yeah, this one here. So, yeah. Yeah, there's Basement Jacks and Groove Armada. Basement Jacks I've not ever checked out. Groove Armada, I believe I have. What's the one? That's 98. I'm trying to think. I See You Baby. Yeah, that's the one. That was used for a car advert, wasn't it? The Propeller Heads. Oh yeah, this one. I remember seeing the cover to this album. When did that come out? 98, the following year. Okay. So yeah, we've got a lot of stuff here. So what comes under electronica? You started from listening rather from dancing. Okay, fair enough. There's a whole load of stuff you're going to lump in with that. Faithless, the Underworld, because there was the Born Slippy track from, was it Train Spotting? Moby. Yeah. So mid-90s, who have we got here? Oh yeah, Ray of Light. Of course, I've mentioned this album before because I did a 98 episode before I did a 97 episode. Just the way I'm sort of rolling these. Oh, there we go, Future Sound of London. And Fluke. And of course we've got the Bjork albums. Yeah, looks like it might be quite a wide net actually. And because bands like it, Goldfrapp. I'm trying to think of the first. So the first album didn't come out, so they're more in the 2000s, although they were going in 1999. Yeah, I remember Jungle being good in being big in the early 90s. Yep, the Amen Break. called Gerald. There's all these other offshoots as well. I don't know if you saw it. There's like Ragga Jungle. Ilbiant. I've got to go down. I mean, I was going to go mainly down stuff of UK origin, but yeah, I do like me some Ilbiant. DJ Olive, DJ Spooky. Hauntology, yeah. Dark ambient. Do they put more? I'm trying to think where Lusmore. Yeah, so Lusmore is another artist who I've associated with the term Ilbiant, but Lusmore pre-exists. I think that so it's, yeah. So it's just seen as dark ambient. Trance. So yes, this is an interesting term, bit pop. And I don't think I became aware of this until quite recently. I was aware of the term, Nintendo Core for quite, for a number of years, and then realizing there were other terms within, chiptune music. And the whole connection to the SID chip. Commodore 64 demo. See, that's a really fascinating side quest to go on. Is, SID music culture, Nintendo Core, and the sort of part of Nintendo Core that revolves around the use of the SID chip. Because there is another part of Nintendo Core which doesn't, and that's bands within the Nintendo Core genre, which are just metal bands that play Nintendo or other music soundtrack, interpretations of game music. Yeah, and interesting sort of subsets within the whole scene. Bouncy techno. Oh, drum and bass, of course. That's a good term, dark core. Liquid funk. Jump up, drill and bass, drum step or half time, intelligent drum and bass. Okay, sort of chill out ambient music. Oh, atmospheric drum and bass. Okay. Well, another interesting side quest. Should do a bit more re-exploring of that, because I think most of the drum and bass I've listened to maybe have been artists that have incorporated drum and bass into their sound. So it would be interesting for me to go back and listen to sort of early movers and shakers in this. Yeah. Indie-tronica. So there's a term that I definitely heard, indie electronic. So yeah, Mum's probably the first band I listened to that would fall into that category. Never listened much to the Postal Service, even though I think Ben Gibbard used to post on Mog when I was there as an early adopter. And I know people would, write blog posts a lot about the Postal Service. Hardcore Stereo Lab. Yeah. Speed Garage. Wow. So much stuff. Owen Van Helden. Donk. Excellent. Listen me some Donk. UK Garage. Yeah. Funky breaks. Okay. So yeah. Okay. Certain type of break beat. Breakcore? What the hell? Oh yeah, this is, if you've never checked out DJ Scotch Egg, you should check him out. It's awesome. Yeah. I've got his, was it his first CD? Scotchhausen, 2007, yeah. I have, it's not his first CD, I have that. Scotchhausen. Hang on. That's interesting. Why do I recognise that album cover? That's funny. I don't think I've got an album with both on, but I do remember buying an album under this name because I reckon I must have discovered him around some 2007, 2008, so fairly early on. I don't know how easy it was to get hold of stuff, but yeah, I'll include a link. Actually, there's a really interesting live performance he's doing. So he's using our Nintendo's, like actual Game Boys live to produce music and like mixing them multiple, and that's how it was through me exploring Nintendo Core and looking at artists that actually physically use some sort of Nintendo device to produce the sound, rather than just say using a sound card with the SID chip on it or a keyboard with the SID chip on it. What is Jump Up? Is that just a subgenre of, so it's just a subgenre of drum and bass. Hard Step, which I think so several of these look like they're just subgenres of drum and bass. So when I go down my drum and bass rabbit hole, that'll naturally follow. New disco. It's like new metal for disco. Oh. The Balearic Beat Revival. French House. Tech Step. Okay. Optical. Oh, this sounds like right up my street. Is that the Metalheads compilation? Yeah. Didn't Goldie got released on? Yeah, so the Goldie album. Which one have I got? Timeless. Yeah. That's a great album. Yeah, so that's probably an early exposure of me to drum and bass thinking about it. Yeah, awesome album. Okay, where are we? Step, vocal trance, dark step, which is probably another one. Yeah, so yeah, several of these are subgenres of drum and bass. Yeah, there's drill and bass. Okay, so lots of offshoots of that in the 90s. Future pop. So this is a really interesting, if you've never been down a future pop rabbit hole, I would advise you to go down it, particularly two bands which I really like, V&V Nation and Assemblage 23. You can't really go too wrong with, I find, with anything by them. And I got into them around about the same time, which is sort of in the time period around Judgment, in the case of V&V Nation, and Matter and Form. And then with Assemblage 23, who I did get into first, that's the first one I became aware of, it would have been around the sort of same sort of period. So yeah, Meta into Compass, and also listening to Storm. Yeah. So yeah, well worth checking out. I did listen to a bit of this band, Pop Tiger Berserk, but I didn't quite get the same buzz as, or I wasn't as intrigued as I was with V&V Nation and Assemblage 23. Icon of Coil I may have listened to a little bit. Yeah. But yeah. So I can thoroughly recommend V&V Nation and Assemblage 23. And it's really interesting to go through chronologically their back catalogue and listen to the sort of where they draw their influences from. One of them definitely has, I mean, both of them you can hear, I mean, I suppose elements of Depeche Mode, but one of them has a stronger pull towards that on the early stuff, I think. Yeah, looks like why. I can't remember which way round it is, but one has a bit more of a origins in Depeche Mode, the other one, yeah. But both, I think both are sort of been exposed to industrial dance music. So. And of course, there's Depeche Mode, that sort of early mid period when they sort of went from being a synth pop band to being something a little bit darker, and they started to definitely bring in more industrial sounding stuff. Oh, good old techno. Nope. Bit of a mislink there. Micro house. Okay. Broken beat, two-step garage. What's broken beat then? Brook. Sounds like a noise Mav the cat makes. He sort of goes brook. Maybe he's saying brook. I should check out Broken Beat. Maybe it's a message from the kitty gods. Two-step garage. Well, two-door garage. I don't know about two-step garage. Electro Clash Jersey Club. Good old dubstep. Yes. So what's classed as post-dubstep then? Burial, of course. What's the origins? Probably out of clubs, I imagine. So where does... I'm just trying to think where some of the more rockier bands fit into this. Maybe it's more absorbed dubstep. Yeah. Liquid funks we've gone up to there. Okay, anything that I missed that I want to just bring to people's attention outside of me focusing on primarily UK stuff. So what goes under the... Oh, there we go, yeah, Daft Punk. I was listening to the 97 album actually yesterday. And of course Air. So when did they hit the scene? 1998 with Moon Safari. Yep, definitely listen to that, although not till quite a little bit later. I went to a really interesting exhibition many years ago. Well, I say many years ago, sometime in the 2010s, when I was visiting the UK. We took a couple of days trip over to Paris on the Eurostar, and we took a visit, like an impromptu visit to, is it the, I can't remember the exact name of the place, but something like the Arab Cultural Centre. And they had a really cool exhibition there about like French hip hop and sort of Arabic influence that it absorbed into it. Yeah, got quite a cool book as well, but it's all in French. I'll have to do a My Life in Objects episode on it. Actually, my French is not great. So I won't be able to translate very well, but I just like the look of the book. I seem to remember they had some nice examples of like customized tape machines, you know, stuff like that, which is pretty cool. Let me just look at hard trance. So trance music, when is that considered to have its origins? Late 80s, early 90s. Yeah. Oh, there we go, KLF. So more origins in the 80s, but spilling over into the 90s. Yeah, I should see what trance albums came out in 97 actually, which is fairly easy to do actually. A lot of this, you know, you may look at, I'm not going to bring it up because it's got loads of ads on it, but like what's an easy way to slice and dice some of these? Well, I would, basically my recommendation is to go to, let me just bring this up on a side screen and I'll see how bad the ads are in terms of just locking everything up. Let me just have a look. So this website I used to use quite a bit in my videos. Yeah, should I just bring this a lot because I'm not going to have multiple tabs. So, album of the year. And if you go into genres, what you can do is you can flick through these. Yeah, this is the problem. See that this. I mean, I don't mind this if I'm just using it for fun, but to try and do videos on this, and I don't, you know, I'm weird. I don't like to run pop-up blockers simply because I would prefer it if, you know, websites that were trying to make money off of advertising managed to make money off of advertising, even though it's super irritating. Advertising, I'm not paying anything for this service. So yeah, you know, you've got to make money somehow. But this is really cool if you want to go down rabbit holes and slice by year. Let me try and give you a good example of this. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to find, I was hoping I was going to easily find one, because a lot of these, you can see that they've now organized these drop downs. So sometimes you have to sort of hunt for stuff. So you can see there's a lot of, there's Britpop there. Is it going to have, I don't know if they've got future bass. I don't know, future pop. See, that might be under pop, which it isn't. So that's the problem. Sometimes finding these genres can be quite tricky. Now, the only thing I will say is once you work out how the labeling works, you can sometimes sort of hack this a little bit by, modifying the URL up here. So yeah, if I go into, see, now I can't choose, can I? I'm just blinded by choice. Okay, dark ambient. Are you going to come up for me? Yeah, it's a little bit clunky sometimes because I'm using a Wi-Fi connection from the bottom part of the house. So let me see. This is the yeah. This is why I don't do. I don't feature this in any of my videos anymore. You can see why. Okay, let me just see if I can do something here. What is Chipmunk Soul? Oh, is that the one where they use the sped up samples? I think that's what they're referring to. Oh, let's just go back into electronic. That's the easiest way. Comfy synth. Let's do our dark ambient. There we go. Okay, now I've made a choice now. So you can sort of see here, it's quite good. It gives you like a little graph, see? So if we wanted to go, okay, 97, what albums might be a good idea to listen to. Okay, there's a few soundtracks here. Not a lot of stuff though, interestingly enough. I was hoping to stick to 97 because that's what I was talking about. Comedy. Actually, let's just go as in electronic as a whole. There we go. That might be a little bit easier in mine if we do it that way. So 1997, 197 albums. And then what you can do, it's a bit trickier down here. You can see you don't get all the little sub-genres. That's the only problem. But yeah, that's quite a good way of doing it, actually. Doesn't have the sub-genres. But I think when you click on these, it does show you. Let me see if I can spot anything. So if we go into Crystal Method, does it? Yeah. And then we can sort of click on here and go off on another side quest. Oh, there's Oblivion. Of course, yeah. Did the Chicane album? Yes, it did. Oh, great. We get to talk about this. Okay, cool. Ambient Trance. I think that's the only album from that year. Anyway, let's get rid of that because the ads are annoying me. Okay, so hopefully you just enjoyed that slight side quest from me trying to put together a 1997 in album episode where we're just looking at various interesting electronic music genres from 1990, and I will include a link to this article because I think it's a really cool article, particularly if you want to sort of see the origins of electronic music genres. Now, it's not the be all and end all, but it's a good starting point. So thanks once again for watching. Bye for now, and I will catch you in a future episode.